The rain did not cleanse. It only made the blood run faster. In the clearing, beneath the rusted water catchment tank, time seemed to suspend itself, hanging heavy and suffocating like the humidity that clung to Mateo's skin. The standoff was a geometric equation of death, balanced on the trembling finger of a 19-year-old boy. Leo stood frozen, his pistol raised, caught between the ghost of the man who had taught him to survive and the demons who demanded he kill to prove his loyalty. The lead butcher, a man known only as Man-Eater for the brutality of his interrogations, let out a wet, rattling laugh. The sound was like gravel grinding in a cement mixer. "He hesitates," Man-Eater sneered, shifting his weight. The tactical light on his rifle cut a blinding arc through the drizzle, blinding Leo. "The boy has a teacher's heart, soft, weak." Mateo didn't blink. He didn't look at the weapon pointed at his chest. He looked at Leo's eyes. He saw the panic fluttering there, a bird trapped in a cage of bone, but beneath it he saw the recognition. Leo remembered the lessons. Hesitation is the hole they bury you in. "Kill him, Leo," the second butcher growled, stepping closer, his boots sucking loudly in the mud, "or I gut you both and leave you for the rats." The threat was the catalyst. It was the shift in the wind that Mateo had been waiting for. He saw the butcher's shoulder dip, the subtle telegraph of a predator preparing to strike the weaker prey first. Man-Eater wasn't going to wait for Leo. He was going to execute the boy for his failure and then turn the gun on Mateo. Physics took over. Mateo's world narrowed down to a single focal point, the exposed gap between the butcher's helmet and his ballistic vest. Mateo didn't reach for the rifle slung across his back. That was too slow. His hand blurred to the waistband of the mechanic's jumpsuit, finding the grip of the hidden pistol. The motion was fluid, a ghost of the soldier he used to be. Crack, thud. The shot was muffled by the thunder rolling over the Corcovado, but the impact was visceral. Man-Eater's head snapped back, a spray of dark mist erupting into the rainlight. He collapsed backward, his finger tightening on the trigger in a death spasm, sending a burst of automatic fire tearing into the canopy of trees above. Chaos erupted. "Traitor!" the second butcher screamed, spinning toward Mateo. But Leo was already moving. The boy didn't freeze. The shock broke the paralysis. He dropped to one knee, sliding in the slick mud, making himself a smaller target. It was a move Mateo had drilled into him 1,000 times on the soccer pitch. Low center of gravity, controlled aggression. Leo fired. Bang, bang, bang. The shots were desperate, lacking the cold precision of Mateo's, but at this range they were enough. The second butcher jerked as the rounds hammered into his chest plate, the force knocking the wind out of him. He stumbled, raising his rifle, but Mateo was already there. Mateo crossed the distance in 2 strides, ignoring the protest of his aging knees. He slammed the barrel of his pistol into the butcher's collarbone, driving him into the mud. The man looked up, eyes wide with the sudden realization of his own mortality. He opened his mouth to beg, to invoke the name of Cobra, but Mateo didn't let him speak. There was no room for mercy in the kill zone. A single shot ended the struggle. Silence rushed back into the clearing, heavier than before. The only sound was the drumming of rain on the hollow metal of the water tank and the ragged, gasping breath of the boy. Leo sat in the mud, staring at the smoking gun in his hand. He looked small, smaller than he had seemed moments ago. The adrenaline was fading, leaving behind the cold shake of shock. He had crossed the line. He had killed the inner circle. There was no going back to the fold now. He was a ghost, just like Mateo. Mateo didn't offer comfort. He didn't offer a hand to pull him up. In the favela, pity was a luxury they couldn't afford. He walked over to the dead men, methodically checking their bodies. He stripped them of their ammunition, their radios, and a heavy bag of medical supplies, morphine and coagulants, intended for Cobra's private stock. "Check your ammo," Mateo said, his voice rough but steady.
"Lee, I killed him, teacher. That was Sandro. I played ball with his brother."
"Sandro was dead the moment he put on that vest," said Mateo, tossing a spare magazine to the boy. Leo caught it instinctively. "The third command is sweeping the lower sectors. Cobra is burning the upper sectors. Men like Sandro, they are just fuel for the fire. You chose to be water. You chose to survive." Mateo turned his gaze toward the dark sprawl of the favela below. The lights were going out, block by block, as the power grid failed or was deliberately cut. But to the east, near the entrance to the Rat's Alley, a red flare sputtered into the sky. "Silas," Mateo muttered. "The baker?" Leo asked, wiping his nose with his sleeve. "He's alive?" "He's waiting, and if he lit a flare, he's in trouble." Mateo slung the captured assault rifle over his shoulder. The weight was familiar, a burden he had sworn never to carry again, but one that fit him like a second skin. "We need to move. The shots will draw the drones." "Where do we go?" Leo stood up, his legs shaky but holding. "The exits are blocked. The tunnels are flooded." "We don't go out," Mateo said, looking at the dead butchers one last time. "We go up. The third command thinks they are the hammer. They think we are the nail, but they forgot the mountain." Mateo pointed toward the towering rock face of the Two Brothers Mountain that loomed over the favela. "We go to the Eagle's Nest. We regroup, and then we take back the night." He started walking, his boots heavy on the wet earth. He didn't look back to see if Leo was following. He knew he was. The boy was no longer a student, he was an accomplice, and in the dark, twisted logic of the war they were fighting, that was the strongest bond of all. The rain fell harder, washing the blood into the soil, feeding the roots of a city built on bones.